Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise today in opposition to the Afghanistan policy that is funded in the fiscal year 2012 defense appropriation bill. I join the efforts of my colleagues in a variety of amendments designed to accelerate the end of the war in Afghanistan. For more than 9 years now, our troops have been executing the American mission in Afghanistan with bravery, dedication, and extraordinary competence. But what started out as a quick war in 2001 to bring Osama bin Laden to justice and dismantle al-Qaeda in Afghanistan has turned into the longest war in the United States history. The original mission has now been largely accomplished, and with bin Laden's death in Pakistan, this provides an opportunity to re-examine our ongoing mission in Afghanistan, which some estimates indicate is costing us in excess of $8 billion per month. We should no longer be sending billions of American taxpayer dollars to the Afghan people for their schools, their hospitals, their roads, bridges, and police at the expense of making those same investments in our own country, especially when the Afghanistan government under the leadership of President Karzai has proven itself incredibly corrupt. In fact, Transparency International ranked Afghanistan the third most corrupt country in the world. And the New York Times recently reported about a road construction project, just one example in Afghanistan, funded by American taxpayers. It's a 64-mile-long project. It's expected to cost $176 million to build. That comes to $2.8 million a mile. Undisclosed amounts of money have gone to pay off local strongmen to buy security while the project is ongoing. And it was reported that the people collecting these bribes stage attacks on the construction crews in order to make the bribes necessary in the first place. With this kind of corruption and many other examples, we simply cannot afford to continue to finance the infrastructure projects associated with this war. And don't forget, Mr. Chairman, on top of everything else, we're not even paying for this war. It's actually being financed on the national credit card. These are difficult economic and budgetary times. It's time to reassess U.S. involvement in Afghanistan so that we can focus on building our own economy and rebuilding our own economy, putting Americans back to work and making sure our nation can compete in the 21st century. And that's why I'm offering this amendment today to strike $475 million from the Afghanistan Infrastructure Fund. Vital investments to our country's economic stability, the education of our children, the health of our seniors, and the employment of our workforce have time and again been put on the chopping block in this Congress. We're told that we can't afford to adequately repair our crumbling infrastructure here in America. We're told that Pell Grants and student loans are too expensive. And we're told that we need to change the safety nets for our nation's seniors and most vulnerable populations. And in the same breath, we're told we should continue to borrow billions and billions of dollars for nation building in Afghanistan. What we really should be doing is nation building right here at home. Instead of building roads and bridges and hospitals and schools halfway around the world in Afghanistan, we should be investing resources on the urgent needs of our own country. Budgets are a reflection of our priorities. Are we going to pay down our nation's debt? Are we going to make the much needed investments in our own roads and bridges and ports? Are we going to protect our seniors? Are we going to ensure that access to college remains affordable? If we continue to spend billions and billions of dollars in Afghanistan, then we cannot have a balanced discussion of these priorities and these choices. And as we debate the merits of raising the debt ceiling, as we consider our domestic priorities, I urge my colleagues to support my amendment, which strikes $475 million from nation building in Afghanistan, to keep those dollars right here at home, to invest in our future, and to reduce our debt. There was a recent report, Mr. Chairman, done by the Eisenhower Research Project at Brown University's Watson Institute for International Studies just this past week. This group's Cost of War project has released new figures for a range of costs associated with U.S. military responses to September 11th, including our activities in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. They project that the wars will cost Americans between $3.2 and $4 trillion and cost 225,000 lives. It is time to end this spending. It's time to make these investments in the infrastructure in our own country. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment.